There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on. Hello and welcome to Cancelled, the podcast that looks at silly celebrity crimes and assigns charges and sentences to them so that we can all move on with our lives. I'm Claire Stevens.
And I'm joined by, that's your line, damn it.
I'm joined by
Jessie Stevens.
Great.
And there's some tension in the council courtroom today.
Why?
Look, our producer's being shady. We started our episode and our producer said, maybe you could post the receipts.
Oh, I think she said the fucking receipts. And we will.
And we know we will.
It's one of
It's
those
a bit
jobs.
of fun.
Every lazy girl has a job
Has that
they
job.
know they will do. Will they do it at an appropriate time?
No.
Absolutely not.
But will it get done?
It's like that
Maybe.
appointment that you gotta do.
Yeah.
You
It
gotta
actually,
go
things
to.
disappear off my list. It's on the list. I'll take a picture for our producer. But anyway, there's shade about it.
Shade.
There's shade.
Jesse, do you have a lazy girl story that isn't just us being lazy girls?
Yes, I do. I have a very good one because it's what we call a double whammy lazy girl story.
Mm.
This is from Taylor. I have a lazy girl story. I love it when they start like that. When I moved from one city in California to another,
Yeah, it's
I
not
was-
very lazy girl living in California, but anyway.
yes, but she was just living in California generally. Like, I think she moved there.
Yeah,
and
no.
just to be clear, she didn't move anywhere else. She got there and she went, I'm staying, I'm too lazy to move.
No, I just think good on her.
Yes, I think good on her too. So she's in California, she lives in one house and then she moves to another house. I was too lazy to forward my mail to the new address.
Ah.
I would pay my old roommate to ship my mail once a week. Keep in mind, I only moved 20 minutes away. I could have easily fixed this at any point or drive there to get my mail. When she moved out 2 years later, I finally forwarded my address, she says.
Good on her.
But I kept paying her for a year because I forgot to turn off my auto pay.
Lazy girl.
She's a lazy girl.
Okay, this
And I was too lazy to ever ask for the money back or ever bring it up.
This is a lazy girl story that is just incredible because you know that was on her list for a really long time.
That was on her list.
Change where
The-
my mail goes
Yeah.
and stop the auto pay.
I don't know how to change your email address. Like my addresses, I've got this issue at the moment. And I just think important mail will find me.
Me too. I have that sense because I've definitely got parking tickets. They need to go somewhere.
And
in the
maybe
mail.
the other address is paying.
You never know.
You never know. And that's fine.
They could be very generous. Jesse, on today's episode, we're talking about someone who is not a lazy boy. Well, he had a moment, but overall, he's not a lazy boy. David Beckham.
David Beckham right here. Sexiest man alive. Do they phone you and kind of go, oh, by the way, you're the sexiest man alive?
They do phone you, actually, and I was obviously very surprised and slightly embarrassed, especially when my sons turned around to me and was like, really?
I wasn't thinking about my teammates. I wasn't thinking about my family. I was thinking about me.
David Robert Joseph Beckham is an English former professional footballer and the current president and co-owner of Inter Miami and co-owner of Salford City. I don't know what that... It just basically, there's a pink team and he owns them, but I think he owns the league.
This is
Started
actually
the
very
league.
important in my part. Every time. So obviously there was this Beckham documentary, right? And this has inspired us. And I would sit there and I would wait for the affair. And my partner was there for the football. And he would pause it to provide more context of the football. And I would say, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And then he would talk over the gossip.
No. And it's
But-
like, there's already a lot of football in my Spice Girls documentary.
Yes, exactly.
For one.
But what I will say about Inter Miami,
Mm.
this is important. They have the pink nets.
Yeah.
Right? That we saw.
That was
but
David's idea.
you know how David's big thing was, can David Beckham bring the prestige of football from Europe to America?
Okay, yeah.
The man's fucking done it.
Oh, has he?
He's done
Has
it.
he?
He's done it.
Didn't know that.
That
Wow.
is the full stop on the documentary. As someone with context, not me, my partner,
Okay.
said the whole point is that he made it happen.
Good on him.
And for that, we shed a tear.
Okay. He was, and I assume continues to be, very good at football. He was good at passing, crossing, bending free kicks as a right winger. He's known as one of the best English players in the history of football and is the first English player to win league titles in 4 countries: England, Spain, the US, and France. David is married to friend of the council courtroom, Victoria Beckham, and together they have 4 children. Their eldest, Brooklyn, is also
Closest friend of the cancelled
is
courtroom.
also one of our favourite people in the
Brookie,
cancelled
please
courtroom.
go back and listen to the Brooklyn Beckham episode.
Hi Vogue, it's Brooklyn, and today I'm going to be cooking for my fiance Nicola.
And we've also done Nicola Peltz, his wife.
His wife. So we've got a lot of friends here.
Yep.
They also have Romeo Cruz
Romeo is
and
a
Harper.
soccer player. Did you know that? In the B League.
Romeo
He's hot.
is so hot.
Yes,
I
okay.
followed him on Instagram the other day.
I didn't follow him. I thought it felt predatory. But again, my partner who knows more than me, he says he will never make the A.
Yeah, no, I feel bad saying this, but I'm like, you're too old. 21. He's like 21.
He's
I'm
need
like,
to
mate,
have been
you've...
a thing.
Yeah.
And then there's Cruz and then there's Harper. Yeah.
Recently, a documentary has come out about David Beckham and his career called Beckham.
Tonight we bring you the story of how David Beckham became a global phenomenon.
David Beckham, unstoppable.
I never really did well at school because all I ever wanted to do was play football.
My manager kept saying, try and keep it under wraps. So we would meet in car parks, and that's not as seedy as it sounds.
Classy.
I suppose that most blokes have looked at the television and said, like, don't fucking end up with them.
My life had become something different.
We were worried that he'd lose all what he'd worked for, because football come first, and all of a sudden it wasn't.
Okay, David. Big smile.
It definitely didn't change me.
We changed. There's no doubt about that.
It is the greatest work of propaganda of our time, and it is flawless.
No.
The man is beautiful. However, we are not so easily fooled.
I'm fooled. I'm absolutely fooled.
Sometimes David is a naughty boy,
He does it with a wink.
and that's what the cancel courtroom is for. Our structure for today is quite comprehensive. Firstly, affair. Secondly, the infamous kick. Excessively moving house. Sometimes not trying. Style. Qatar. And a note on Brookie. Affair.
Should that have a plural?
Actually, yes, because I do mention 2.
Okay.
I have never been so certain that someone did a cheaty cheat as David Beckham not talking about how he cheated in his documentary.
He was lonely.
He was lonely and without his family. So for those who don't know, the Beckham documentary was directed by Hugo from Succession,
Everyone knows that.
also known as Fisher Stevens.
Yep.
And he did not ask directly
We don't know what he asked.
about the cheating. Instead,
I think we got the answer we needed.
which was an answer by omission.
Yeah.
Which was he did cheat.
Mm.
In 2003, months after Beckham moved to Real Madrid. Can we talk about this?
Why isn't it just Real Madrid?
Why isn't it Real Madrid?
No.
But it's Real. Is
Okay,
that
okay.
a place?
Okay, our producer just told us it means royal in Spanish. It is not
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid with a Spanish accent.
But for us, it is Real Madrid. He was spotted out with a mystery woman. She was later identified as Rebecca Luce, Beckham's personal assistant.
The News of the World, which printed the detailed allegations yesterday, said it stood by its story 100%.
At the time, Victoria was living back in the UK with their 2 children, Brooklyn and Romeo, because the kids were in school. She hadn't had a chance to move them over yet.
Hated Spain.
She hated Spain. She kept bitching about it and getting in trouble.
Yeah.
In April 2004, the now defunct tabloid News of the World, also friend of the cancel courtroom, ran a story claiming Beckham had been having an affair with this woman. 1 month later, she told her story in an interview on Sky News. Jessie, do you want to know what she said about David Beckham?
I do, because they didn't go into the details in the documentary.
They didn't name her.
No. What did
Very
she say?
vague.
Because an affair is one thing. What happened during the affair? What are the dirty details?
She told Sky that David was an amazing lover and they couldn't keep their hands off each other. She said we were just locked into each other all night, conversation-wise. Other people noticed. We just connected. I think the chemistry between David and I was so strong. People were aware and they weren't very happy. He knows how to please.
Oh, yeah.
She claimed that they first slept together after they connected on a night out with friends, and she said they had been sexting up until 2 weeks before the story came out. I feel
Dirty
for Vicky
Me too.
finding that out and hearing those details. At the time, Beckham released a statement in The Guardian and fully denied it. whereas Victoria stayed completely silent. Then in the recent documentary, Victoria said,
"It was the hardest period for us because it felt like the world was against us. And here's the thing, we were against each other, if I'm being completely honest. You know, up until Madrid, sometimes it felt like us against everybody else. But we were together, we were connected, we had each other. But when we were in Spain, it didn't really feel like we had each other either. And that's sad."
If I was Vicky, I'd turn to him and I'd go, I'm fucking Posh Spice.
Yeah. Do you know who I am?
I'm Posh Spice. I'm Victoria Adams.
Mm.
Okay, I wore a little black dress and I often did backup vocals. I didn't have a lot of solos.
No, I was explicitly told not to sing.
Yeah. But I'm so famous.
Yeah. How dare you? How
dare you?
How dare you?
Now, that's not the only cheating rumour about our friend David. There was also a story in 2005 where a woman named Danielle Heath said she had been romantically involved with Beckham. Victoria was pregnant with Cruz at the time. And the story is that Heath met the family after giving Victoria a spray tan, which I believe.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
I believe Victoria got many spray tans. So
she's a British woman who's, I will say,
has artificially olive skin.
And has found her
spray tanner. Yeah.
No, but she's found it.
Yeah.
You see, I mean, a lot of us go through a lot of years, and that time in history was not a good time for the spray tan.
Mm-mm.
But I think she has a good spray tan.
Well, the story goes that this woman, Danielle, was then summoned to the Beckham home by David, who apparently wanted her to wax an intimate area, but then changed his mind. That sounds like a waste of everyone's time. Then at a later date, she was left alone with David, and she says he invited her upstairs and they kissed. That's all that happened, okay? Which, I don't know, it's just not like the best cheating story.
Only second base counts.
But like,
fine.
It's fine. But
they've always kind of been plagued by cheating scandals. So in my opinion, David Beckham has cheated 2.5 times.
Okay.
It's happened. They've worked through it. Vicky said, I'm here with the kids. And it's the only word that can be used. You're gallivanting.
Yeah.
You're gallivanting around Real Madrid, finding women to wax and not wax
your butthole.
How dare you? And I just feel like they worked through it and good for them. And all I can hope is that Vicky also had 2.5 on the side.
Yeah, me too. Because what I will say about this is that from the documentary, which is pure propaganda, David and Victoria seem to really love each other.
The best scene, given that you've asked, is in the final episode where they're dancing together. What's the song?
Oh, I don't know.
What you are.
What you are. Come away with me. And they just seem to... And her jeans are excellent. And I looked at that.
And I'm like, you are stunning in your Victoria Beckham, but damn, you dance like a 50-year-old. Like she really dances like mum.
Yeah,
and I love that for her.
But I went, you've been through so much cheating-wise.
Yeah.
And you still quite like each other's company.
Yeah. They
And
have fun.
It's almost like, did the cheating make you stronger?
Some say.
That's
Some
a question for the cancelled rulebook.
Yes.
Sometimes we just pose questions.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, it doesn't get answered.
Jesse. The infamous kick.
We couldn't ask more from the players.
But a mad moment by David Beckham probably cost you the game at the end of the day.
It's cost us dearly.
David Beckham needlessly and recklessly earning a red card.
It's quite a tragedy. I mean, Beckham was a hero against Colombia and a silly offender in this particular match, and he'll regret that for a long, long time.
We have all got cranky during a World Cup and kicked a man.
I've broken tennis rackets. I've yelled at opponents. I have targeted referees, umpires. I do not lose well.
One time we were playing hockey in our front yard.
Oh,
with
we've
golf
definitely
clubs.
told this story. I've got a dent in my shin.
And I hit you in the shin with one of the golf clubs.
Putter.
So look, we are not above this kind of drama. But in 1998, England were playing Argentina in the round of 16 in the World Cup. The round of 16, you'll notice, is not the final.
Yeah, but you got to get through it.
You got to get through it. It's 2-2. England should win, but Argentina hate England. Something about the Falkland Islands, but
not relevant.
But I think all countries hate England because colonisation.
Yes.
Anywho, Victoria had told David she was pregnant with Brooklyn the night before.
I don't know if that's relevant either.
I would never want to blame Brooklyn. But
no, it's not Brooklyn's fault. It made David really happy.
Well, it made him lose his shit.
No, it didn't. Those two things aren't related.
Okay. Maybe they are not related.
Those things are related.
Argentina's Diego Simeone initially fouled Beckham.
Yes.
And when Simeone stood up, he rubbed his knuckles against the back of Beckham's head while Beckham was still lying face down. In response, Beckham swung his leg out at Simeone, who then fell over dramatically like soccer players
In
do.
any other code, it would have been play on.
By what was required, and neither was that challenge. And Beckham, now whether Beckham accidentally smacked into Simeone, I think a yellow card is going to be brandished here somewhere, and it might be to David Beckham. Wait a minute, he's taking another card out for Beckham. It's a red card for David Beckham.
If this was rugby league,
oh, yeah.
You can punch a man's teeth out and you get an applause.
Are you kidding?
Like, the things you can do on a tennis court, I mean, not contact, but you can lose your shit.
A little bit.
This was a little kick.
The slightest
kick.
But, Jessie, in soccer, is there a rule that says you cannot kick someone?
Technically, yes. And he got red carded. And did you know, because Luca, my husband, soccer referee, very handy.
And he said you can't kick.
He says, no choice, that's a red card from me.
Yeah.
Did you know that when you get a red card and you get taken off, this might be obvious to people, but like you can't sub someone else in, like you have to play one down. Did you know?
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the like massive disadvantage. You're playing one down.
I actually didn't know that. So that's important.
Hmm.
So there's no way to know if England would have won had Beckham stayed on, but they lost, and they lost in like a penalty shootout. When the England coach, Glenn Hoddle, was interviewed afterwards, he said Beckham's red card had cost them dearly, and that contributed to a media narrative that Beckham had let the country down. In the aftermath, he said the whole country hated him. He got booed when he came onto the field. Crowds would clap when he fell. They'd yell cruel chants when he was out in public. And during games, they'd yell that Posh Spice takes it up the bum.
Every football fan sang this song.
Posh Spice takes it up the arse. Excuse my language, not very ladylike, but 75,000 people singing that. I mean, it's embarrassing, it's hurtful.
Yeah.
Which, all power to her.
If that's what she wants.
If that is true.
But I don't think it is. And even if it is, then it's not relevant to chant.
It's private.
Yeah. I don't think they really cared whether she literally took it up the bum. I feel as though it was a way to undermine Beckham, which is incredibly sexist.
Yes. Jessie, I don't know if I think of this as a crime for a few reasons. One, he got the red card. Like, he did the thing.
He got his
the
punishment.
But two, this was quite profound for me. I'm always very moved by athletes.
I'm very moved by a propaganda documentary, such as Never Say Never.
Yeah.
The Katy Perry one.
Yes.
Yes, very
anything
moved.
about successful people.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think you end up with this kind of career without that moment. I think everybody has their red card moment, and I actually think it made Beckham into who he became.
Well, I don't think you think that. I think the documentary said that multiple times.
Still, resilience.
I don't know. It's like, okay, from Luca's point of view, he says that like a soccer player knows that you can't be doing that. And it's about composure. It's about the fact you're representing your country, the money that went into him, and that tiny little choice that he made had big repercussions. I sort of get it, but I agree. He got his punishment.
But then a few years later, they won, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Jessie, excessively moving house. Moving house is the worst. That should be in our rule book.
Yes.
It's very, very bad. And throughout his career, David kept making Vicky move house, especially once they were settled.
Yeah.
He was playing in Manchester. Then suddenly, nowhere in Madrid. Please relocate to Spain, Vicky, where you can't speak the language and also your husband's cheating.
Yeah.
And also, every time you bitch about Spain, everyone gets mad.
Yeah. And I don't think she liked paella.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Or sangria.
She didn't like it. She didn't like
She didn't
the
want
food.
it.
And she wasn't allowed to say that.
No, because
she
they
was
kept
like,
getting offended. And she
it's
was like,
not to my
you know,
taste.
she was like, that's her spitting it out. She was like,
Yes.
I don't like it. I actually eat the same thing every day and it's salad and fish or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But the Spaniards
They
didn't appreciate it.
Yeah. Then they got settled in Spain. Well, you're moving to LA. Actually, LA was quite nice for Vicky. And they got into a nice school. They
Had
had
a backyard swimming pool.
beautiful
Yes.
swimming pool
Yeah.
for the children. It was lovely. Then, oh, no, David wants to be in Milan.
And Victoria totally understood.
What do you mean you want to go to Milan? Like, we've just moved from one side of the world to the other for you.
David, that's annoying because we've got this big house.
And you signed a contract.
Yeah. Now they're moving back to England. Oh, David wants to play for France. Mate, that's annoying. That's really annoying. And then
I think I'm going to buy Miami.
and then they get settled in England and you go back in Miami.
Yeah.
The airline points, but also the carbon footprint of David Beckham.
The storage cages. Because what are we doing with the furniture?
Yeah, that fit in the LA
There was a
home.
moment where Posh said, I'd furnish the house. And I went, oh, she'd furnish the house.
Victoria Beckham describes herself as a busy working mum whose priority now is to find a new home for her family and new schools for her kids.
3 weeks to prepare for her family's arrival.
I've got to find a house. I've got to find a manicurist. What do you mean we're going to Spain? He's like, we're going to Spain. When? In about 12 hours. I was like, what do you mean? You know, we don't have anywhere to live. We don't have schools for the children. What do you mean? But then the reality is we moved to Spain.
Like that.
David and the boys are going to stay in Spain because David has to finish the soccer season while I go to America to get everything organised for them. So we move back to the UK and he pulls a David Beckham special. I'm moving.
She'd put things on the walls. Like, what do you do with all of that?
I'm not suggesting she ever had to pack a box. That's not what I think happened.
No.
Absolutely not.
But do I think she looked at, I don't know what the word is, swatches
yeah.
of different colours and went, that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think she had to coordinate things. I think she had to make phone calls
to
and pay invoices.
her assistant to say, get them into school.
Yeah. Like, that's annoying for her.
It's a heavy mental load.
All while doing the other things she does, such as
facials.
No, her clothing label.
Yes.
Okay? She's a busy lady. That's annoying.
No, that is annoying.
That's annoying.
Crime.
Jessie, sometimes not trying. I remember playing soccer. I had a soccer moment and being accused of not trying. And I thought, I'm actually trying quite hard.
Yeah.
But I'm limited physically in terms of I have no strength. Or athletic ability.
See, my issue was the heaviness of my ankles. And so people would say,
always has been.
You're not trying to get the ball. And I was like, I'm trying as hard as Usain Bolt tries. I am on at the starting blocks going, I'm going to run as fast as Usain Bolt. No one's more frustrated by the lack of ability here than me. The trying isn't the issue.
The mental, mentally I'm there.
I'm like, oh, sorry. I saw that intercept.
Yeah.
I saw it. I'm just still on the other end of the field because of my physical limitations.
It's like I have done all the visualization and the meditation. I believe I am David Beckham.
I'm so sorry. I don't come to training. That's also one of the issues.
It's cold.
It's cold and it's Thursday night. I'd rather eat McDonald's.
Well, the problem with David Beckham is that he's always been quite good at football. And when he's not that good,
probably because he's not trying.
Exactly. It's because he's not trying. And in 2007, he joined the LA Galaxy as part of the MLS, which is the American Cup. He was paid something like $32 million. And part of that, in the contract, it said, you got to try.
Do you think it says that?
I think there are some legal terminology
How can you
says, don't take the piss. This is a lot of money. This is a lot of money. Some people are starving. And the thing about that team, the thing about that team, and they say it in the documentary, is that there were people who were pool cleaners and there were people who were getting paid $30,000 for that season.
In Beckham's defence, they were also shit.
Well, he was being paid a lot of money. It's like, no offense, but the agreement here is you win it for us. Like,
Yeah. No, that was clear.
The whole point. Now, the problem was that not only were the LA Galaxy shit, the entire league was shit. The quality of those fields, I don't know anything, but the grass wasn't mowed.
I don't know anything.
So bad.
I don't know anything. But looking at that, I, as a spectator, don't know where the out is, where the outline is. Because he looks like he's out, but I think he's still in the field because it's American football.
There were fields that were repurposed. Beckham was told that to qualify for the English side in the World Cup, he had to actually play like for real for a little bit. And so he played a few games for AC Milan on loan. And we're not going to pretend we totally understand that, but something to do with like you can borrow people and trade people. Imagine if workplaces could do that. Imagine if they like tapped you on the shoulder and they're like, hey, we're just trading you to this other workplace. Whoa, I'm a human. You can't do that. He clearly wanted to be playing in Milan instead of LA. He stayed with Milan for 6 months because he was like, I keep kicking it to people and they're not getting it. And I have a signature move where I do this corner kick and somebody gets it in. There ain't no one to get it in.
We're talking Claire Stevens quality. She's at the other end of the field. She's tying up her laces.
He was very, very annoyed. His teammate, Landon Donovan, was having none of it. Because, and I don't know if I believe this, but in the documentary, they say that Landon is such a good soccer player, he could play anywhere. But he was choosing to play.
No, it's true. Landon is, I think, the highest goal scorer in all of US soccer.
Yeah, but it's US soccer.
Don't pretend like you even knew any of this before you watched this documentary last weekend.
Well, I'm just saying he's not playing for Real Madrid, is he? He said Beckham wasn't committed to the team, given that Beckham was in another country playing for another team. And he said that it was like Beckham had decided it wasn't worth his time.
Yeah.
He said, I can't think of another guy where I'd say he wasn't a good teammate.
Even though it's a shitty little MLS team that he doesn't really care about, but it meant a lot to me.
Beckham was pretty annoyed that Donovan said this publicly. He was like, say it privately, because now everyone knows about how I wasn't trying. Eventually, the two sat down to discuss it, and it's quite lovely to hear about that conversation where the coach looked at David and said, you know how you love Manchester United and they were your family?
This is this man's family. And David's like, but his family shit. And it's like, some of us have shit families, but they're still our family.
They're still our families and we still try.
And what did David say? He said,
I respect that.
And no, I'll own that. I wasn't trying.
And so he went all power to Landon.
Sorry, I don't even care enough.
Sorry, I don't know his name. I don't know anyone in this team's name.
No, sorry, I don't care.
And he went, no, I am being paid a frankly silly amount of money, and so I'll try.
What he also did was, look, I've legally tried to get out of this contract.
I can't.
There are no loopholes.
The scary American man says I can't leave.
No, sorry, David. We owned him.
Because of that, I will stay.
I'll try.
And they won the cup in 2011 and 2012. And now I guess Landon and David are friends.
Yeah.
Because Landon said, thank you for putting some effort into my shit team.
Exactly.
I appreciate it. But it was a crime for him to not actually be trying initially.
For that time.
That's annoying. Jesse, his style. We need to talk about just a few style moments. What do you have to say about this image?
Okay, what we've got is the infamous moment where David Beckham was wearing a sarong. I have no issues with a man in a skirt.
Absolutely none.
Love it. Man, woman, whoever the hell is wearing a skirt, that is open for anyone. Do I have an issue with a sarong at a formal event?
Well,
yes.
Do we know it was a formal event?
It was a formal-ish event. He was not at a resort. It was not resort wear.
I thought he was at a resort.
No. I think he was going out to dinner. And you know what? In some cultures, a sarong is formal wear. That I respect. I appreciate.
But it's like,
but not your culture, Mr. Manchester.
You're a British man.
You're a British man, and guess what? There is never a reason to wear a sarong. It's too cold.
Yeah,
except when you are on holiday
in Spain.
Yes,
but my issue is wearing a sarong at night.
That's it. That's it.
Yes.
It's
That's
a night
the
sarong.
issue. It's a night sarong. And
there's no such thing.
No.
You don't go into a resort wear shop on your holiday and they go day sarong, night sarong. Why would I need a night sarong? There's a cool breeze by that time. I don't need a sarong. Hate it.
Very, very odd. Jessie. Then there was David Beckham and Victoria Beckham's wedding.
Yes.
I love it because it is bogan. Okay. It's so bogan. And they dressed even little Brookie as a bogan. Jess, can you please tell me what you see in this image?
What I see here is 3 people in purple. So we've got a purple suit on David Beckham. We have a purple dress on Victoria. And we never acknowledged in the Brooklyn Beckham episode how cute he was as a baby, because that is a bloody cute baby. He's got a purple top hat, purple shoes, purple baby bib, purple suit. And he is so ridiculously cute in this image.
On Mum and Dad's wedding day.
On Mum and Dad's wedding day. Why are they wearing purple? It's a bit of fun.
It's a bit of fun. And I like that they didn't take it too seriously. They said, we have a lot of money. We do not have taste.
No, exactly.
Absolutely not. Then at that wedding, they sat on gold and velvet thrones. Victoria herself, she acknowledges she does not know where the thrones came from. She does not know.
That is every wedding in a nutshell. Is you look around at one point and you go, to be completely honest, I don't know where any of this came from or who did it.
It wasn't a conscious decision, but now
this became extra.
I've gone too hard.
Yeah.
I have gone too hard.
I'm entering on an elephant.
Yeah.
And I don't know where this elephant came from.
Jesse, his knighthood, or should I say, lack thereof. David Beckham really wants to be a knight.
Don't we all?
And I think it's because his Manchester coach became a knight. He was a sir.
He was a sir.
It's the end of 2013 and David's being interviewed by Jonathan Ross on ITV. And at the end of the interview, Ross says one more thing. He says at the end of that goal montage earlier on, the commentator said, David Beckham, he's scored the goal, he's put us in the World Cup. Someone please give this man a knighthood. Now, we haven't heard the announcement of the honours this year. They haven't tipped you a wink or anything. Beckham, of course, was very humble. He said, I'm very honoured and lucky to have what I already have, the OBE, the Order of the British Empire. I'm very proud of that. You know, even to be talked about, receiving a knighthood is an unbelievable honour, but I'm very lucky to have what I have. He's like, I don't need a knighthood.
He's so humble. They might call him golden balls, but he is a humble golden balls.
Yeah. Jess, Beckham's chief PR advisor asked Ross to ask that question.
Oh.
And was even like, you should say he should get a knighthood.
Okay.
Leaked emails showed that 6 months earlier, the PR advisor requested information on how one might write a letter nominating someone. The problem is Beckham's attempts have been blocked by tax authorities. It's very complicated. It is not particularly interesting, but the interesting part is the emails. Now, David Beckham wrote of the Honours Committee in 2013. They're a bunch of I expected nothing less.
Yep.
Who decides on the honours? It's a disgrace, to be honest. And if I was American, I would have got something like this 10 years ago.
This man, I'll go out on a limb and say he wants to be a knight.
Yes.
Really wants to be a knight. He wants to be Sir David Beckham.
I'm surprised he's not.
Me too.
To be honest.
I'm outraged too.
Yeah. And that morning, he had also read that Catherine Jenkins, a classical singer, was about to be given an honour at the OBE.
Good for her. Good for Catherine Jenkins.
And, you know, David, you don't understand classical singing. That's fine. But he said, Catherine Jenkins OBE for what? Singing at the rugby and going to see the troops, plus admiring to take coke? What?
Oh, that's petty. We're getting petty. We're accusing people of drugs because we want knighthood.
Effing joke. And if you get asked, we should think of a cutting remark. My honest advice to you is that we should not do anything that jeopardizes it and remain positive. Why waste time on a cutting remark? Because that will only rile the committee. We need to remain dignified if asked. But if you want me to work up something cutting, I'll work up one. But my advice is it's not productive. Mate, you're spinning. You're spinning out of control.
You are. You've worked yourself up.
There's just a lot. His PR guru also emailed one of Beckham's other close advisors saying, it just gives us even more reason to work further this year on UNICEF, armed forces, other charitable commitments. What a bummer having to work with UNICEF when all you want is a knighthood.
So all he wants is a knighthood and you just see him be like, More UNICEF.
So much charity. The next year he was asked about Scotland's independence and what he thought about
Wow,
it.
there's something David
Doesn't give a shit about. And his advisor was like, if you want a knighthood, say you want them to stay with the UK. So he did. He still didn't get his knighthood. He kept sending emails that said the C word.
Oh, it's not fair.
And then in 2016, there was another email, which was an invite to an awards ceremony in Madrid where he'd win a sporting legend prize. And he replied with, unless it's a knighthood, fuck off. I love that he's done. He's like, no, I just want a knighthood, nothing else.
Claire, this man made that Netflix documentary
To get
in
a
a
knight.
last-ditch attempt to go, if this propaganda does not win Sir David Beckham a fucking knighthood, then I am done.
I love that there is some troll on the knighthood committee who's like, not really into David Beckham.
Not
got
this
a
year,
grudge.
then the next year. No, not this year.
Not
quite.
this year. It's all he wants. Not quite. Jesse, Qatar. One of the biggest controversies as of late that was not covered in the documentary because it would make the propaganda confusing is that David Beckham has something to do with Qatar.
Yes.
He's played a tournament, supported a tournament in Qatar, which persecutes people on account of their sexuality.
It's a country in the Middle East.
Okay.
I
Look,
remember.
It appears we got Luca to try and explain
seeing-
it to us.
Oh, I'm here. I didn't get an intro.
No. But I remember seeing a video of a British comedian yelling about David Beckham.
This is a message to David Beckham. I consider you to be a gay icon. You were the first Premiership footballer to do shoots with gay magazines like Attitude, to speak openly about your gay fans, and you married a Spice Girl, which is the gayest thing a human being can do. But now it's 2022, and you've signed a reported £10 million deal with Qatar to be their ambassador during the FIFA World Cup. Qatar was voted as one of the worst places in the world to be gay. If you end your relationship with Qatar, I'll donate this 10 grand of my own money, that's £1 for every million you're reportedly getting, to charities that support queer people in football. However, if you do not, at midday next Sunday, I will throw this money into a shredder and stream it live on a website I've registered called benderslikebeckham.com.
I remember that. Luca,
Yes.
why was the comedian yelling about David Beckham and Qatar?
Generally speaking, Qatar World Cup drew lots of criticism
Why?
in the lead up because it was uncovered that Qatar only won the World Cup bid due to FIFA corruption.
Well, did Beckham even know that?
Yes.
but
The answer is yes.
Okay, but
Unless
would
David
you
Beckham's
agree?
lawyers are listening, in which the answer is yes, comma, allegedly.
Okay. Well, Luca, would you agree, and this is something we have discussed, that David Beckham has his price?
Yes, I would, because that's what clearly got him to identify with a nation that only won the World Cup. So they were not fit to win the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Their temperatures were,
Very hot.
fucking absolutely mental.
Yeah.
They had to change when the World Cup was
I
played.
remember
They had no
this.
infrastructure. They didn't have any stadiums. It's not a footballing country. So it's very clear that they only won the World Cup because of corruption when you think
I
about
remember
it.
this, and everyone was speaking out about
They
it,
have
and
no
David Beckham
well-priced-
was like, no comment, I got paid $200
You
million.
can't, if you go to try to stay at a hotel in Qatar, it's like thousands of dollars a night, and millions of people go to the World Cup. They don't have Airbnb. They have no people to stay.
Okay.
So
that is
you know,
bad.
corruption, right? Then between Qatar winning the World Cup bid in 2010 and the World Cup starting in 2022, they had to build all this infrastructure to host a World Cup, right?
What's that got to do with David Beckham?
Stadiums. I'm getting there.
Okay.
All of the stadiums were built by migrant workers, right? And it's
Yeah.
reported that the health and safety conditions were very
Oh,
poor.
I remember this.
Very sad.
But maybe Beckham doesn't know that.
The Qatar World Cup chief originally said that 3 migrant workers died during construction of stadiums and that 37 more deaths were sort of tangentially related to the World Cup. When pressed, he admitted that this figure was probably closer to 400 to 500 migrant workers.
Okay.
The Guardian also reported that there were 6,500 migrant worker deaths in Qatar between them winning the bid and the World Cup starting. Not
Okay.
necessarily just linked to the World Cup, but overall.
Okay, that sounds pretty bad, actually.
Anyway, David Beckham.
Yeah.
People started noticing that David Beckham was on ads promoting the World Cup in Qatar. And they had questions.
Not a good
Such
look.
as, why?
Was he okay?
But maybe the man needs to feed his family.
It immediately drew mass criticism because corruption, migrant workers, but also Qatar is a very conservative country. Homosexuality is illegal in Qatar. And David Beckham is apparently, I'm told, thought of as a bit of an icon in the gay community.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's my question though. When David Beckham was told all of this, because he might not have known, he's not particularly well read. Let's say he didn't know any of these things and they say migrant workers died making this, blah, blah, blah. It was corrupt.
It's a regressive society.
Yeah. David Beckham, surely, he's a man of integrity and values and loved nothing more than soccer, football. He said that. What did he do?
He stood by Qatar because
they had
lots of money.
Oh, David.
So it's said that he was paid $17 million Australian for the World Cup ambassadorial deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it was then uncovered that that was part of really a 10-year deal with Qatar Tourism worth north of 250 million Australian dollars.
In your professional opinion, does David Beckham have enough money without that?
His house is very nice from the documentary, isn't it?
Yes.
How come David Beckham wasn't more cancelled? Do you think that this documentary was in response to maybe him being cancelled for the time that he defended Qatar?
He's just so likeable, isn't he?
He's likeable, Larrikin.
Likeable guy.
And he says things like, football's a game that unites everyone.
I love it.
When asked questions. And you can't argue with that, can you?
No.
Also, at the time of recording this last week, David Beckham said that in hindsight, he was proud to be part of the tournament.
Sir. Jessie, before we get to charges and sentences, a word on Brooklyn.
I think we were too hard on him. I think looking back,
I have in my notes, it's not your fault. It was never your fault. It wasn't your fault, Brookie.
It wasn't your fault. And you are loved by us.
And your
parents. And they worry that it all messed you up a bit. All the paparazzi and stuff. And you know what? I'll eat your sandwich. Your chef.
The saddest bit of the documentary is when David's cooking something and he like gives Brooklyn, like Brooklyn says something and he's like, yes, chef. And it's like, he's not a chef. He's not a chef.
It's so patronising. But it's not. He's trying to be encouraging.
He is. He's trying to be very encouraging of his son. I just feel really bad because I guess seeing Brooklyn as a baby reminds me, like, he's human too. And it's not his fault.
And he was such a beautiful baby.
He was such a beautiful baby. And people yell things at him when he was a baby.
Beautiful baby. And he's just a man.
He's
trying to find his thing.
He's a baby in a man's body.
I retract any charges and sentences I gave him, which was probably, looking back, find a job, any job. But you know what? Don't worry about it.
It's fine. Just hang at home. It's all G. Jessie, it's time for charges and sentences.
Okay. For me, this is an easy one. And Beckham's crime is loving too deeply.
Okay. Loving what?
Yes, loving soccer, you might ask. No. No, that's not it. There is nothing David Beckham loves more than David Beckham.
Yes, he loves his own narrative.
Hence the moving. Hence the knighthood. He rates David Beckham very, very highly. And herein lies the issue, Claire, because so do I.
Yeah.
I rate the man. I rate him.
He's beautiful.
He's beautiful. He's got a great soccer foot.
Yeah.
He kicks the ball well.
I loved the bit in the documentary where one of the other players was like, does he get fitted separately for his clothing? Because why does everything look so good
on him?
And I'm like, no, it's just that he's like a model.
He's so beautiful.
So like when he would take his shirt off on the field and it's like, what? What?
Yeah.
And his hair and
I
his smile.
loved all the iterations. I loved it when it was long. I loved it when it was short. I loved it when it was dark. I loved it when it was light.
Yeah.
Okay, I too love David Beckham. I get it. And this provides an issue with sentencing because it must be done. But my sentence isn't for David Beckham. My sentence is for us.
Oh, wow.
And I'll get emotional as I say this.
What is it?
We, collectively, we got to all be a little bit more like David Beckham.
Oh, how?
Look around and go, do I want to be in Milan? Oh, I can't be. I've got kids. That's okay. Go to Milan. Are you sitting at work and you think, I don't want to be here. I want to be there. Go there.
Go there. It's fine.
Did you just get a job with an enormous contract? Did you sign it? Did it say you have to try? Don't. Because you walk around the world
with the
confidence
of
David Beckham. I was going to say Sir David Beckham. Not yet. Not yet. Of David Beckham.
Wow, that's inspirational.
It is. Because
really
that's how he got there. That's how he became so amazing. He woke up every day and he went, holy shit, I'm David Beckham.
No, he did, didn't he?
And then he was
And
like,
then- but the
should I be at my baby's birth? Well, no, because my calendar says I've got J-Lo and Beyonce today. And I'm going to choose J-Lo and Beyonce. And he is a man who always falls on his feet.
So David comes home from training one day and I said, they've told me that I can go in, Monday morning and I can have the baby. And he said, yeah, the thing is that I can't do that because I've got to shoot. I said, what do you mean you got to shoot? Yeah, I've got to do a photo shoot with Jennifer Lopez and Beyonce. And I remember lying there. Don't feel at my most gorgeous, let's just say. And I remember someone showing me the front page of the newspaper, which was a gorgeous picture of David between Jennifer Lopez and Beyonce. And the headline was, what would Posh say? Let me tell you what Posh would say. Posh was pissed off.
Because really, none of that cost him.
No, but I think the lovely thing is he's like, holy shit, I'm David Beckham. But I think he also wakes up most days, not every day, most days, and he rolls over and he says, holy shit, you're Victoria Beckham.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for you. You're not David. You're not David.
Granted,
that's me.
you're not David.
That's me. But you're pretty impressive.
Yeah, Victoria, and I like you.
And I think the sun shines out of your ass. That's what he says.
Okay, what's your charge?
Okay, my charge is actually to do with Qatar. It's a little bit to do with the lazy boy narrative
heavy.
with the US.
Yep.
I'm charging him with being a bit of a greedy boy. Greedy
You think
boy.
he's greedy?
Yeah. I think
you think he makes choices for money.
Yeah. And I think that was a bit of a through line in the documentary.
I think he owns it.
That I think some of his British mates were like, yeah, he went for the money.
He loves a dollar.
And he doesn't mind compromising his values
for money.
Values he may not have in the first place. Because
I think he had them, but he's got his price.
We've all got a price.
We've all got our price.
He just wants money.
It's like, I love football more than anything. Well, do you want to go play soccer? Yep. It's like, I thought you loved football.
Yeah.
No. I'd like to play at a worse league with people I don't know. That's actually called soccer.
For more money.
For more money.
Yes. He can be bought, I guess.
He can be, but we all can. And that's the moral of the story.
Can we?
We can all be bought.
An addendum I'll add to that, however, is that although he is a greedy boy, you really learn a lot about wealth from looking at the David Beckham documentary, seeing how much money he made throughout his career, and then seeing that the Beckham family is poor compared to the Peltz family.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
they're the poor ones.
Yeah, it's like
they're the poor in-laws.
That's how
great
fucked capitalism is. That some people have so much money that the Beckhams look poor.
Ow. Sorry, I bit my pen. I got distressed.
For the Beckhams to look poor,
yeah,
we have a broken system. David, you're a little bit greedy.
Yeah.
My sentence, it's harsh.
It's not going to give money away.
No.
Oh, good.
Jess, I don't think he ever gets his knighthood.
You don't mean that. You don't mean that.
I think there needs to be one thing David doesn't get that he wants that he doesn't get.
No, you don't mean that.
I think somebody
David
is
Beckham
trolling him at the knighthood committee, and they say, you know what? You've got plenty. You sold out our country for you to play elsewhere for more money.
Oh.
And you kick someone, you lost us the World Cup. So no knighthood for you, mate.
No, he deserves a knighthood. Some of the people who have had knighthoods, like the opera singer. Who's she?
She didn't get a knighthood. She got an OBE.
Okay. Well, no, I think he does deserve a knighthood.
That's because he's beautiful.
Yeah, and he did good at the soccer.
Yeah, he did. But I think there needs to be one thing he wants that he
Completely
can't have.
Disagree. I'm going to put on our stories a poll.
Does David Beckham deserve a knighthood?
And I might tag the UK.
And tag David.
I will.
Because he'd like to see the results.
Because you know what? Actually, he'll just glance at it. He's got 83 million followers, of which I am one. And he'll glance at it and he'll go, yeah.
No, he'll just do a quick
yes. Okay, yes.
And then he'll send it to his kids and say, can you just respond
vote
to this
yes?
poll? Yeah, just so that...
I think we should start a campaign called David Beckham and his knighthood. Get it?
I disagree.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Cancelled.
If you want to see the receipts from today's episode, which I promise we will put up, you can come to our Instagram at @thetwins_thoughts. The executive producer of Cancelled is Talissa Bazaz, with audio editing by Thom Lyon. Thank you so much for listening. Leave us a review, etc., etc. Bye. Talk to you next week. Bye.